Hello, good morning guys, welcome. Thank you very much for clicking on this one again. Please quickly consider subscribing or liking the video. And as you know, we are actually rebuilding phpocean.com, and we have also renamed the website into lancecourse.com. So far this is what I had. That's what I had started in redesigning the website as phpocean.com, and it was done with raw PHP, and I decided recently to transform it and start using a more professional framework, because the framework under this website was mine. So I decided to go for Slim framework, and in addition to that I also decided to go for a better templating language, which is Twig. So in order to transfer and transform the new version into a Slim based website application and a Twig powered front end, I had to do all the conversion and all this. So we've been doing that for quite some weeks now, and now I think the last time I was working on displaying the tutorials at the home page, which is the preview of the tutorials. So I did that, and we had to display the name, the author's name, and the category in which it was added, and so on. So I did that, and although I haven't joined all the tutorials to their the respective categories, but still did it, and I think I just need to update the database. Also for the slugs for each tutorial, I think I didn't do for each one of them, so I just did some few to see how it goes. So for this go today, and I'm not really going to write any big code, because I think the work that was left to be done in order to reach here is to be able to click on the tutorials or the blog posts and then have the single and view the article. And I did that job behind the scene. I really had to go very fast because it is taking too long, and I have to do some things very quickly and explain it to you guys. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to explain to you how I managed to get this the single and the preview, both for the tutorials and the blog posts. And aside that, you can see that I can click on how to, which is the tutorials main page, and have a view of whatever is there. And I can also do the same thing for the blog posts and have a kind of these things that you can see here. So this is how it goes. For the code, what I did was simple. And also you can remember I was also having a challenge of this URL. Should I have to write kind of tutorials and then use the ID, or I should just use the slug? So I think I came up with a solution. So let's start by reviewing that. That's the route grouping. So I think the route grouping helps with that, and it's easy actually. So you just have to create a group, and under which the prefix will be used. So this prefix here will be used and added to whatever route actually. That was actually the immediate solution I found, and it seems to be working fine. So as time goes, we'll see if anything comes ahead. We can still try to adjust. So how do we bring the single to the display, or the idea? So first of all, I have to create a route for it. So the route is this. So it is going to be blog, and then / followed by the slug of the article, and then we'll call a method inside our blog controller, which is called the single. And when I go to the blog method controller, which is blog controller, and we check that method single, we can see it here. So all I will do is to fetch a method, and I created a method, a particular method on the model, the blog model, which is here. So that method, which is let me find it, I think yes. So post from slug, it's kind of this method, but the only difference is instead of fetching from the ID, it does fetch it from the slug. So kindly go in the blog table and find a blog, an article that has the slug such here, and then get it back to us here. So also you can see that maybe you might not have noticed that this the point here. When we go to the blog post, you can see that the content of the article here is written in Markdown. So I save raw markdown in a database instead of me converting the content I write into an HTML format, which is a bit risky because the day I decided to use a different format of different data formatting, I might run into a big issue. So kind of save it raw text but markdown. So in order to display the article, I really have to come out with a solution of transforming the markdown. So to satisfy that, I had to go and look for a package called the pass down. So I use Composer to install it, and this is how I use it. So once I fetch the post, I have to do the conversion of the content because I can't do the conversion on the template. So I have to do the conversion before I send the signal to the template. So I have to take out the post content differently and send it as a different signal, so full content. So whatever details, even this variable is still available here, which is we can still access the content, but that will be raw markdown. So in order to convert the markdown into an HTML format, on HTML formatted text, I had to pass it down through pass down, and this is why I did this. And then because I need some side content left at the right side, so I had to also fetch some special content in a different way, like the popular and all this. And if you check, you can see this method, which is popular posts. So what I do here is kind of not really that serious for now, but the thing is I take posts that have the most views, so and we order them by views and in the descendant order. So we have the one that has the most views at first and all this. So let's look at the template and see what we have. So we go to that single blog, so blog single. So when we check our template, we can see at the moment the post is sent, the post variable is sent. This is the variable, we know that we have something there, and then we can go through. So I use an article tag. So from there we can have the header where I display the title and other details like the image and the publication date, and then so on. The images here, and then the content. This is one thing you really need to pay attention to, because I'm using Twig, and then I'm trying to send the raw HTML to Twig, and I want Twig to interpret the HTML as HTML, not just a raw text. So I have to add this flag, which is raw, so that it can start interpreting the HTML I'm sending to it. And I added this tag here, which is footer, under which I have now inserted my discourse feeds. So I have to do the formatting for that, and this is what we have. So apart from that, for me to have the sidebar, which is so if you check so let's click on the post, so the DIME portfolio of the web dev. We can see this sidebar here, which has this recent post, and then we also have archives. So what I call archives here is are actually those most popular articles. I don't feel it that much. I still have to find a solution, because the issue is it seems like as time goes, the same content remains over there because it attracts more clicks and keeps on being on top and all the time. So I really have to find a way, probably randomly fetch and kind of give more chances to other posts and all this. So this is what I might do in the future. So we have this preview here, we can do this. And as we are here, let me just make you see something very quickly. I noticed that I've gained in speed when it comes to this new version compared to the previous one. When you look at this and I try to display an article like this, you can see it loads like this. When you look at this loading button here, when I click on an article, you can see it loads and then it comes. It loads and then it comes. But when we look at the new version, you can see when I click, it kind of flashes. You see, it kind of flashes. So I kind of gain in terms of speed here. So let's continue. So this is how I come up with the display for the single. So the main thing is set a route that will redirect people to the single view. Create a method in the controller to fetch the post details, and then whatever information that goes along, and then send it to the template and just display it. So the same idea goes on with the tutorial single view, which I did so we go to tutorials here. If you check here, we click, the same thing goes here. We have tutorials / and then the slug. And one of the main reasons why I'm really emphasizing on have this slug and always keeping the URL very short is the SEO. So with the SEO, I think I'll gain with this, and I will have the capability of changing my slugs very easily and making them more SEO friendly. For instance, I think in terms of good practice in SEO, there are some words, kind of prepositions that are not really necessary. For instance, these two here might not be necessary. So I might write a code that does that automatically as I'm adding the articles, or kind of find I don't know, manually do it and all this. So it might not be necessary, but we'll see that. So the next thing is to see how we did for the tutorial. If you look at it too, you can see that we have so let me close this one quickly. So the same thing goes tutorials, which is the base, and then we add a slug under it, and then we redirect to a single, and now this we have tutorial single. So I go to the tutorial controller, which is this one. So I've created a method which is called single, in which I'm fetching the article through the slug and send the signal to the template, and do the same passing here, because the article content too is written in Markdown. So sorry, it's written in Markdown. So I do the passing before I send it as an HTML content to the template. And we'll look at the template. We have tutorial single. The same game goes on, and this what we have, and I do the same raw display. So this is simple. Now the root, which is the root pages for both tutorials and news, and this. So the website something and then /tutorials, and then the news /blog. I really want to insist on those things because the blog particularly is considered as a good SEO stuff, because it helps the website. So having it as blog there is good. So here we have a different way of displaying things. We have a search here. I haven't really coded this, although I had the code done in the old version, so it can still be used. So I did the same display here, just like it's a different thing. I haven't coded this part. So fetch the articles based on some small criteria and then bring them here, this. But through that, I've discovered something very interesting. You can see I'm not connected to the internet, so it's been a few days now that I've not been going online, and I've been coding without really looking at the internet. And if you remember, I have this article called Learn a Bit of Offline Coding. So myself, I do practices from time to time. So, and one thing I discovered was here. I needed to display this editor's pick. Instead of me to suggest a kind of list of articles to fetch and display it, I wanted it to be done automatically. So the only solution I thought of was to randomly fetch or display articles from the fetch articles from the database randomly. That's the keyword here, and the same thing goes here. I think it's still going on. You can see when I refresh here, it randomly fetches different articles, and the person might not have might think different content that goes on, but it might also be annoying that every time you refresh the page and you still have to have different thing, and because you might see an article, flash see an article, and suddenly you might like to come back to it and see, and suddenly it changes. So here I really have to fix that, but here it doesn't do so. I think per session it displays different things. So on the same session you can still have a different thing, and this is the method I discovered to do that. So if you go to let's say blog controller, and the route to do that is here. So for the blog, so anytime we go to the home page, the home for the blog, we are going to this route. So this is the invoke method we are calling here. So if you go to the invoke method, we have it here. So I'm fetching the latest post, and that's easy. So just fetch in the descendant order and the number we want and all this. And also the editor speaks, that's the random post. You can see random post. So when we look at that random post method, random post, this is it. So what I do is to take a limit and then make sure that the article is a published article, and then I discovered this method. And how did I do that? Funny, I was expecting like Eloquent will have a method like random and all this thing, and I stood there for a few minutes. I couldn't find a way of doing it, and suddenly I started searching Eloquent code base in my vendor packages, and I came up to find that there is a method somewhere called in random order, and that method is located inside the Illuminate database Eloquent model. Oh no, sorry, Illuminate database query builder. So if you check that file and line 1848, you will see that method and it's used here. And this is how it uses. It takes one parameter which is called seed, and the seed is a kind of a database, a table column. So if you precise a column, it will fetch it once. I think that's what I was calling per session. I'm not still sure about that. I still have to go through and find out how it goes. It does that. If you don't precise any seed, then it will randomly fetch every time you refresh the page. So that's one thing I discovered. So, and that's how I did. So I fetch the same thing goes on for the blog single homepage. So I fetch some kind of posts that are needed for each section on the. So I think this here. That's how can you see? Yeah. So for each section you see latest news. So you can see I fetch something for it. Intermission, don't mind that. I'm expecting to display courses here, so that's not ready yet. So editor speaks, the same thing, randomly fetched. The same thing here, randomly fetched, but I have to stabilize the randomness here. And this is how I came up with this solution for now. So the next thing to do is to think of a page which I'm planning to call either catalog or tags. And the reason is this: when we go to the home page, for instance, and we have this category here, what I'm expecting is when you click on it, then it takes you to a page called probably catalog. Then from catalog you have probably what you clicked on. So in this case I think we clicked on CSS. Then you have CSS, and then it will be a kind of a filtering page. Okay, so the page displays a list of items and filter it based on the tag you click on. So that's why I'm thinking of using the term tag or catalog. So I'm still having a conflict in which word to use. So on the left side here I will have a kind of other filters you can apply. So for instance, filter based on the publication date and maybe the display format, and maybe I don't know, add as many as possible flags can add so that we can filter and preview. And the same thing will go for other categories, so HTML and all this. But that maybe I'm still having a conflict. Should I make that possible both for the tutorials on the blog? If I'm going to do that, then it is going to be a bit tricky, because if I precise a tag like CSS, I have to fetch both in the database table, the tutorial table, and in the blog table, and that can be a bit tricky. So in order to have that, I also have to create the categories. So I have something categories, a table called categories, and I also have a table called sections. So those sections are the biggest sections of the website. So it covers big categories, and under which we can now save the categories and all this. So this is how it goes. So I don't know, I think my next goal is to adapt other pages. As you can see here, we have pages like I don't know, sign in. The code is there, but the design is not good yet. And join, the code is there, but the design is not good. And other pages like probably contact, the code is there, but the design is not good. And so many other pages like the user dashboard and all this. So what this means is, for each page now I'm going to work on, I have to fix the front end as well, and that's a new horizon for us. And I think it is time for you to see the designing part of it. And if you look, I didn't show you that, since we are about to talk of the front end. So let's have an idea of how the website is in terms of responsiveness. So if you go to the mobile version, it seems to be fine, not really a big deal, just normal breakdown, breaking it, and that's all. And the search goes here, and the menu comes here. And all this, I don't know, I did it in different moments. So anytime I feel inspired, I should do something, I just sit down and do. And you can see that's iPhone 5, the hardest and all. So I think it seems cool. So if I take how-tos, so I have something like this. Yes, so it goes. So what if I click on a single? The slug is not ready, so let me take something different. So you can see here there's a big problem. I think this is where I stopped the last time when it comes to front end. So let me check for the news and see if the single is good. So we take this. Yeah, this seems cool. So we can go. Yeah, this seems cool here. Okay, so thank you very much guys for watching, and please kindly subscribe, like the video, share with your friends. It's not really a big thing, but it's a way of supporting me and encouraging me in this quest. And I'm expecting to really have good content on this website for you to enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. Talk to you next time.